I want to show you a game that you might not have ever heard of. It's a game that I became aware of earlier in the year but passed by only to buy it a few months later. Let's take a look back. Back in January of this year, I was bored and really wanted to play a scary game. Since I had purchased my Xbox 360 2 months ago, I felt the need to expand my Xbox collection, so I googled lists of top 10 scariest games for the Xbox. One of the lists had a game called Deadly Premonition. I looked it up on Wikipedia and saw this screenshot. Needless to say, I wasn't too impressed. After all, it looked like shit and it got mixed reviews, so I decided to not even bother. 2 months later, in March, I got a coupon to buy a used game for free since I purchased 2 used games. I had to use the coupon by mid-April. I was scrambling my brain looking at GameStop's site for the used games when I saw the game Deadly Premonition. It was then a toss-up between Deadly Premonition and Alan Wake. I decided to go with Deadly Premonition. I don't even know why. So the next day, I picked up the game, went home, turned on my Xbox, and began playing it. Not even an hour into the game, I turned it off and made the decision to exchange it for Alan Wake the next day. A few hours later, I had nothing else to do, so I turned it on again, except this time, I actually made some progress and the game began to catch my eye. A little under a week later, and I had completed the game. This is one of the most amazing surprises I've played in a very long time. Basically, you assume the role of FBI agent Francis York Morgan, though he calls himself York. York travels to the fictional location of Greenvale in order to investigate the murder of a young woman named Anna Graham. He takes interest in this murder because it's a seemingly ritualistic murder of a young woman where red seeds have been found on or near her body, as this is similar to a series of other murders across the country. All the murders trace back to the Raincoat Killer. Upon arriving in Greenvale, York meets the town sheriff George Woodman and his deputy Emily Wyatt, who he quickly gains an attraction to. York generally causes friction amongst his peers with his dismissive attitude towards everything, his bizarre behavior, and his frequent interruptions of conversations to address an imaginary person who he calls Zach. If there's one word I would use to describe this game in a nutshell, it's strange. Very, very strange. Okay, technically that's 3 words, but you get the idea. It's one of the strangest games I've ever played in my 22 years of gaming, if not the strangest. It's funny because if you saw someone playing this game, you probably think it looked like shit, and in a way, it does. Aesthetically, the game is nothing special. In fact, for an Xbox 360 title, it's very bad. It looks more like a PlayStation 2 game than an Xbox 360 game. The controls also leave a lot to be desired. Turning is sometimes more of a problem than it needs to be, but the real problem in the gameplay is the shooting. Early in the game, all you're given is the standard FBI pistol. The problem with that is how slowly York shoots the gun. One clip holds 15 bullets, and it can sometimes require all 15 bullets to kill one enemy, who are also a joke. They look like the Joker from The Dark Knight, and they make the most hilarious sounds when you're killing them.
Don't want to die.
The real place where this game shines lies in the story and the characters. Virtually every character has their own quirks to them. Every character is strange in their own way, and there are several characters York meets during his journey to solve the murder. The game also has some unnecessary features, like the ability to shave, the ability to look through windows, the ability to change the suit you're wearing, etc. None of these serve any kind of purpose in the game, and yet the fact that they're in the game is utterly hilarious. The story in this game is just simply in a league of its own almost. There was a point where I didn't want to get off the game. The story is outstanding, and whoever wrote it deserves a raise. It's very rare to come across a game these days with a story, let alone a good one, and this game's story is truly amazing. The ending of this game is an ending that I never saw coming. Deadly Premonition is simply a game that I feel you have to play. People give this game shit simply because they don't understand it. No, the game isn't perfect, but you know what? There will never be a game that's perfect. People like to diss this game because of its mediocre graphics. You know what? If all you care about in games are the graphics, then I'm sorry, but I don't consider you a true gamer. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know that sounds elitist, and I pride myself on being the antithesis of an elitist, but really, if all you care about in a game are the graphics, then no. To me, you're not a true gamer. A game can have the most amazing graphics in the world, but if the gameplay and the story suck, then that's not a game worth playing to me. I'm going off on a rant now, let's sum this up. This game may look and play on a below average scale, but trust me when I tell you that this game is absolutely amazing. The ending of this game caught me so off guard that I was left upset and puzzled by the ending for a good week. I'm not kidding, it was that powerful. Do yourself a favor and get this game. This is coming from a guy who hated the game for the first few hours and ended up loving the game when it was all over. This is a game that needs to be played.